All right. Hey everyone. There's been a lot of things in the works, and I really want to get some confirmation that this is going on and this is going on. Um, so the important things that we have in focus today, and it's all about understanding what the age is, what we're doing in this phase and in this time. So what we do with that is there is a lot of fluff about artificial intelligence right now. There's a lot of noise about artificial intelligence. However, one of the things we need to understand is that there is, for those who knew what happened during the time of the NFTs about 2 years ago, you would notice that it seems like that was the next big thing. That was the next best thing that everybody was up on about. But we all knew what happened. And there have actually been a couple of people who are of the thought that this might be the same thing that is happening with artificial intelligence. However, I'm going to let you in on some things you need to have at the back of your mind. So let's start first. You know, innovation and advancement has never been something new to man. We've always evolved, we've always seen innovation up from the industrial era. Industrial era was the era where man began to see how to use machines for most of their things. So there was a time where it was all about horses for movement and all of that. But now the motor began, the vehicle, so fueling system, there are lots of things that need to happen before that system actually gets kicked on. You might be seeing me darting through screens because I have like three different screens in front of me, and so let us just have that in mind. So the first thing we need to have in mind is that all of these advancements started with the industrial era. Okay, things where we had factories, where we had mass productions, and then things were done in mass at a very large scale level, and physicality was the thing. That's where done in mass at a very large scale level, and physicality was the thing. That's where strong men were the ones who were very rich and wealthy in those days because that is usually what people called hard labor. It requires a lot of mental strength, and all of that. Now we began to move gradually from that mental strength to from that physical strength rather to mental strength. And that's where we began to enter what we knew as the information age. Okay. Now the information age was leveraged by the internet. This is very important. This introduction is very important because it allows us to understand where we are going with this. It was the information age. But one of the major tools that served as a driver for that age was the internet. Without the internet, we would not have a mass production of the information age. If you go back to the industrial age, you will also realize that one of the things that made industrial age what it was mass production. So there's always something about mass production, mass acceptance, something that is able to solve problems at a bigger level, when it comes to innovation of the age. So when we have things like emails, systems, we started moving into information. We had social media. Social media became a thing, and that was innovation. And things were changing. The culture of people changed. The kind of businesses changed, and many of the businesses we still have today. One of the core areas of growth and scaling and expansion for those businesses is actually internet. There are many businesses today who one of the only reasons any business that is still making a lot of money but is not in the internet business is most likely in crude oil. And the reason is because crude oil has been around for a very long time and the world is still largely dependent on crude oil. So that's why there is still a money spinning around it. However, money has branched from highly focused on crude oil. So what I mean by that is a lot of people who were the richest by that is a lot of people who were the richest people in the world at that time, their major deal was in crude oil. So they did crude oil, the logistics and the transportation of that crude oil, how to turn crude oil into different products. So you have gas, you have petrol, you have kerosene, and all of those byproducts that came out of crude oil. So it's one of the reasons why crude oil is still a thing, because a part of the world is still bent, on being useful by it. However, we have moved gradually from the information age, from the internet age, we have moved into the intelligence age. And that is where AI became important. Now, what internet was to the information age is what artificial intelligence is to the intelligence age. And so, one of the things you would understand is the internet is a platform and a tool that allows for multi-reach, multi-outreach, of people, of product, of ideas, and all of that. For example, if you needed to know something, where you would go would be a library. You'd have to comb a library and find out what you're looking for. Now, the next generation of that was online search. It means that you did not need to go into a library. What you need to do is just to know what you're looking for, just search it online, and voila, you find as much as possible. So you see how easy that went from having a physical library, having to go through books to find exactly what you are going for, to now going online using the internet as a tool or as a platform to find any form of information. So it means that anyone who deals with information, leveraging on internet as a platform, will do well. So everything information is your emails, your social media. It's all about information. And you see that that's where more of the money is in this age. However, we are already moving into what is known the intelligence age. That means that the focus age. However, we are already moving into what is known the intelligence age. That means that the focus is moving away from just data, just information, and then it's moving into cognition. Okay, and that's where the intelligence comes in. Now, one of the things that is quite predominant in this age is the fact that data has moved from scarce to superabundant. The way oil moved from scarce to superabundant. Data is everywhere. Data is king now. In fact, data is the new oil, of the moment. And so we need to move from digital sense of things, and now we're going into the cognitive sense of things. Now, why is this shift very important for businesses? One of the ways we need to understand artificial intelligence now is to see AI as a co-worker. However, if we are not careful, if we don't do the dynamics right, artificial intelligence is going to move from a co-worker to become a boss. Now, there are many things we're doing now. There are many things we're doing today that if we make the wrong move, it's going to be bad for humanity. Okay. And that's why there are certain organizations who are already advocating for the control of how artificial intelligence is used. So, for example, um, when internet came up, we have what is called deep web. We have what's called the dark web. These are more complex and sophisticated sides of the internet that many of us do not even know exist. That is the same thing that is going to happen with artificial intelligence. There will be other people who will be able to leverage on artificial intelligence to use it for more sinister things. The way people use the internet now to hack people for money laundering, and all of those kind of things. Those are the good, the bad, and the ugly of the internet age. Now, in artificial intelligence, in the intelligence age rather, you're already seeing things like video prompting, where a video comes to life and begins to say things that the person who is speaking in the video has no knowledge about. Now, we're now even able to cook up faces of people that never exist and bring them to life and enable them to start saying things. Now, AI is creating complete movies with no actors, with no directors, on its own. So that is the future that we're going to, and we need to essentially begin to prepare for it. So one of the things I wrote here, there are financial implications to this. So one of the things we need to understand is before, because one of the things that would aid artificial intelligence is automation. So it means that before, if you want to invest your money, you have to go through the stock options. You need a stockbroker to advise you and tell you, okay, this is the best option. Okay, let's look at the report, fundamental analysis of this investment. So we believe that this can do well. Investment presently, so the digital investment is more speculative. However, the beautiful thing we will have with artificial intelligence is it's going to be predictive. It's not going to be speculative. So AI will not just understand the fundamentals of an organization, how well an organization is doing. It will be able to predict how profitable an organization will be in the next years, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years. So the people who have access to this prediction will make a lot of money because they will be able to know which stocks will fall, which stocks will rise, and which one will actually do well. And so these are some of the financial implications of what artificial intelligence will be. One of the things I also mentioned a couple of weeks ago is that in the full fledged age of artificial intelligence, we will probably not have musicians anymore. Why? Now, in the digital era, one of the things we have is we have Siri, we have Alexa, we have Cardona, and all of these things. Now, what you do is you say, um, Alexa, play me a song. And then Alexa finds the song online and plays it for you. But now, one of the things artificial intelligence will be able to do is curation. What curation means is that you're not going to tell artificial intelligence, an AI agent, that, oh, play me this song. Although you can do that, but that is not maximizing it. Because the way Google Home or these assistants have access to your phones, have access, they can make calls, they can read your messages and all of that, is the same way artificial intelligence agents will have access to your life. So when you tell an AI, oh, please, I'm in a bad mood, sing a good song for me that will make me feel good. AI has a better option than going online to look for a song that will do it for you. AI by itself can create the song based off of your temperament, your emotions, your history, your traumas, everything about you. AI will use that data, that information to curate a song that is suited for you. And so it's almost going to the prophetic side and the prophetic area where artificial intelligence is going to be personalized service. There are no intermediaries. It knows your health, it knows your trauma, it knows your relationship, it has experience and all of that, and is able to use that data to customize things for you. Now, so that we don't get ahead of ourselves. And one of the core things that we also have to understand is for businesses, artificial intelligence, you can see things like what's the name of Amazon firing about is it 16,000 people or 12,000 people. I need you to understand that 12,000 people is a lot of people. It means that these people have become jobless because of new technology. Now, this is not new because when the vehicle started, the people who had built an economy around horses also lost their jobs. And they protested that what would have our horses will no longer be useless. Industries have been built around using horses as transportation. So you have carts, you have those who took care of horses, who beautified horses. It was a complete industry. But when the motor car came along, it disrupted that industry. And now there is no one going around and thinking, oh, I need to ride a horse to travel. It's the same thing that would happen with jobs. There are certain jobs that we're doing, and a lot of people have always asked, okay, what are some of the jobs that I need to be more mindful of that in the next 3 years, 5 years might not be around? So here is the thing any job that is task related. Task related means you need to do one, two, three to get four. Artificial intelligence will be able to do it very well. Now, here's the beautiful thing about artificial intelligence: it is very efficient, it is very effective, and it works effortlessly. It does not take a break, it does not get tired, and all of that. However, one of the things we're already beginning to see with the evolution of artificial intelligence is an emotional side of AI. What do I mean? So I was reading a research recently, and it mentioned that something as simple as, so when you're writing a prompt, if you continue to speak and communicate with your AI or your GTP for a long period of time, its chances of being prone to error increases. However, with a simple prompt like telling the AI to rest before continuing, a lot of people don't know this. Asking, you know that we treat AI as machines, but one of the things you need to understand that we would start treating AI not like machine, not like a computer, but like sentient machines, meaning that they would have emotion, they can get tired, and all of that. So one of the things that we found out in one of the most recent research is that AI GPTs can actually get tired. And one of the ways they prove that they are getting tired is the level of their accuracy begin to drop. And so one of the ways to improve the level of accuracy of your AI is actually to tell it to rest. So when you're going on prompting, maybe if you've been continuous for a while, just type it and tell the AI, take a breather before going into the next one. You'll be surprised that the quality of the result you're actually going to get when you ask the AI to take a little breather is actually going to be a lot better. So that's just a piece that someone can actually find very useful. Now, one of the things I mentioned, the qualities of job that you get to do, if your job is task based, so task based means like, okay, you need to write emails, you need to create documents, you need to create presentations, you need to speak, you need to project things, you need to analyze something, interpret something. AI will most likely be coming for that industry. And that brings a lot of people into it. So things like digital marketing, anything that has to do with content creation, just forget it. AI already has that domain. Now, the only thing is that we'll still have people in that industry, but these people will become masters who will just supervise what AI does. So, what that means is that instead of having 50,000 people who are digital marketers, we can only have five people with one AI that is able to do the work of 50,000 people effectively. So with AI, you would not be checking for mistakes. Okay, this one made a grammatical error, this and that. What you actually be looking for would be hallucinations. Hallucinations is a part of AI that it it just brings different things together and tries to make sense of them, but those things are not actually factual. Okay, so that's where we still need human beings to test these things and to be sure that okay, this is actually true, this is not. So, for example, there was someone who used artificial intelligence to win a law case. Okay, however, one of the things that was found is that there were hallucinations in that AI report. What that means is that the quotations of certain laws, so in law, you hear things like Adamu versus government, Aisha versus Lagos, those kind of things, those quotations of different law sessions. The quotations of the AI did not actually exist. So, what that means is if you are not a lawyer and you are not an expert lawyer who knows what some of these sessions should look like, you will just read it assuming that those things are real. And if you follow through, it will actually look like the AI is making sense of these things. And so these are still the areas that we are actually going to need human beings. Now, the part that everyone needs to begin to look out more is the area, because we are in the age of intelligence, one of the things that we need to begin to do now is called judgment. Judgment is one of the things artificial intelligence is still not able to do effectively. What do I mean by judgment? So, interpreting a case, judging a case for verity, that is this truthful? Is this factual? Does this exist? Because AI has the propensity to create things out of nothing. And so in certain industry like the government, like law, some legislative areas, you still need to be sure that whatever is happening is true. Now, one of the other things, which is the flip side of it, if I could use that term, is the very fact that there are certain research that says that almost 70% of the content that we have online are what do they call them? Like garbage content. They're just contents that are not trusted. People just saying different things. And it now gets worse. We now have more content by bots than content of human beings. And one of the things you need to know is that AI or GPTs actually use the internet as spot for data to harvest things, to bring things, and what have you. And so if what the AI is actually picking from is false or is not true, then the integrity of what is actually going to be producing might be wrong. And so that is why we still need that areas of judgment where a human being will verify, well, at least until artificial intelligence gets to the point where they are able to do things well on their own. So that is what you call AGI, artificial general intelligence. That is the state where AI becomes smarter than the smartest human on the planet. Okay, and they are getting there as we go on today. Okay, so I've talked about financial implications. One of the things I also wanted to touch on before I go a bit general is in the space, how then are we supposed to navigate ourselves? Because if someone is telling you that, oh, in the next 2 to 3 years, your job might not be existent anymore, the next question is, okay, if my job is not going to exist anymore, what do I do? How do I navigate these things? So here's the thing. I'm sure you know, if there are recruiters on the call, they can let me know about it. There are many recruit, and the reason why a lot of people are not even actually getting jobs anymore is because most of these jobs are being there's the intermediary of artificial intelligence. They call it the ATS, okay, applicant tracking system. What that means is that you feed into the intelligence. This is the type of person you want, and then it is able to sift through different people's CV and just come up with, okay, out of 10,000 people that filled for this role, there were just 50 that meet this particular thing. But one of the things about the ATS is that because it is not human, it is only looking for the logical equivalent of these roles. So what it means is that if if you put there that, oh, you must have this certification, you must have masters, you study this course, it will only be looking for those things. It is not able to interpret that, okay, even if um we are looking for someone to be a receptionist, but the person has led a group, or the person is a good public speaker, all of those things can actually be aggregated together to mean that, okay, this person should actually be good as a receptionist. That is one of the reasons why a lot more people are not even getting jobs that they are qualified for. That is the catch. The catch is that these people are actually qualified for these jobs, but because of the systems that is being used, it ejects even the people that qualified for the job. So one of the core things that a few people have discovered is that every professional from now on should begin to move away from that system where you are writing CVs, writing resumes, and you're hoping for companies and organizations to get you to a system where you become a personal brand. It is called a portfolio system. And that's one of the reasons why you cannot in this age say that, oh, I'm not a social media person. I cannot be putting myself on social media. I don't have time for social media. If you claim you're not having time for social media, it's going to really cost you. Why is this? Because the goal now is, in as much as a lot of people are not getting jobs, a lot more strategic people are actually getting the jobs. How do they do it? So I'll show you. So they are not going through the route you guys will go through. What is the route you guys will go through? You will check online for vacancies. When you see a vacancy that aligns with what you are going, you send your CV to them, you send cover letter to them, you fill the application process, you wait for them to select you do first interview, second interview, they don't take you. You check another one, you do first interview, they don't take you. You do another one, you do millions of interviews, they don't even accept you. That is a frustrating process. Why? Because the work market is getting dense. There are still good jobs and people are still looking for qualified people. But the process and approach is changing. It is almost like in the age of computers, some of us are still using typewriters. Typewriters are about to go out of style. But if you hold on to that system, you will think you are doing a lot of work, but that work will not be efficient. It will not be it will not be meeting the mark. So instead of doing recruitment the old ways, one of the things you need to begin to do now is to use the portfolio system. What is the portfolio system? I'm glad you asked. In the portfolio system, what you are looking for is not jobs, is not vacancy posts. What you are looking for are strategic relationships. Now, before you look for strategic relationship, you must have a portfolio. A portfolio is something they would call like a brag sheet. Some of the things you have done in the past, some of the things you have done in your previous workplace, the things that the problems you have solved, the systems you have created, the frameworks you use. Have a portfolio where you put those things. Why? Because in the new system of employment, it is not you are not the one going to meet recruiters. It is the key people within the organizations that are actually calling you for a meeting. So you can see that the system has changed. If you are the one going through the interview, that means that you are on queue with a lot of other people, and you might not even get selected. I'm in the HR space. I know sometimes that when you write vacancies and people come in, and you just see thousands of CVs and letters. You are a human being. You cannot even read through everything. At some point, your eyes are tired and you don't even know what to do anymore. What if is at the point your eyes are tired is actually the person that qualifies for that role, but your mind is already fagged out. So that is the recruitment part that is no longer working. The part that works now is portfolio. Build a portfolio like you have a company, like you have a brand, then sell your brand. Become an influencer, become a thought leader, become a problem solver. Another thing through that portfolio building is you can look at an organization and find out the gaps that they have and then create a proposal on how to solve that gap. But removing the key important things from that proposal in such a way that if the company is really interested in solving these things, they would have to call you in for a meeting. What that means is that when they get to call you in for a meeting, you have jumped the queue of the thousands and the millions of people that are writing CVs. Because now you are thinking differently. You're thinking like a brand, you're thinking beyond just a data of the person, and then you are amassing into the system. So I've mentioned that you need to build relationship. I've mentioned that you need to have a portfolio. Your portfolio will show how you think, the kind of problems you have solved, the value you bring to whatever organizations that you have. One other thing I also noted here is build optionality. Optionality is very important. And what is optionality? Optionality means that at every point in time, you'd have options. There are many people who the place they are currently working is their last hope. So they will keep praying that God, nothing must happen to get me fired from this place. Because the moment they are fired, there's nothing else for them. They are no longer competitive. They are no longer in the market. No one knows them. No one wants them. And that is a very bad place to be, especially in this age where artificial intelligence is already confidently doing the work of a lot of people. Every person that is in business wants to do one of two things: is either to increase profit or to reduce costs. And so, if they are not able to increase profit, but they find a means either through automation, artificial intelligence, AI agents, and all to reduce costs, they will do it because at the end of the year, they want to increase the number of money they go take home. But if you have not demonstrated yourself as someone who knows how to think, but you are just someone who knows what to do, then you're going to have a big problem. Like I've also mentioned, um, the future is not going to be for those that are talented. The future is for those that are tactical, for also those that have talent. It means that the people who know how to solve problems. Okay, so for example, because we're in the age of intelligence, the kind of problems we'll be having in this age is not a problem for content. It's not that, oh, we don't know this thing. It's not that anymore. It's about how do we solve these new problems, these new challenges. What are the things we need to do? And so if you are someone here and you don't even know anymore how to solve problems, so the work you are doing was first a problem that someone solved and created a system around it. Let me also tell you something. A computer used to be a human being. That what I mean by that is a computer was a role that a human being does. It involves a lot of calculations, computing numbers, and making sure that there's low margin of error. What you have as a computer today used to be the job description of a person. A machine took that role. And you can tell me right now that a computer does a very fine job at computing. Everything your computer does, recording video, going on internet, and all of that, do you think a singular human being can do it effectively for that long period of time? No. And that is because we have moved to another level of efficiency. Now, the world is moving to another level of intelligence. And so, if you are not smart, if you are not intelligent, you will have no value in this new world. You will have no way to prove your worth in this new world. And so, the next question is, how do you improve your intelligence? Number one is one of two things. You either stop using ChatGPT the way you are currently using it and learn how to use it. A lot of people use ChatGPT like Google search. You just say, "What is this? What is this thing?" And allow ChatGPT to do it. The error in that or the danger in that is like I've mentioned earlier, ChatGPT will bring things from the internet. Sometimes those things are not true. Someone might write an opinionated point that is false, but ChatGPT sees that, brings it into you, and tells you that that is what it is. But if you don't know the data yourself, you take it hook, line, and sinker, and that's how it works. However, the best approach is to have a conversation with ChatGPT. So let me tell you something. Let me give you an example of one of the things I would do. If I want to create a okay for a Nigerian company, I will not just go on ChatGPT and say, create for me a business profile for a company that is in Nigeria, this and that. If you put that on GPT, it will give you something. But that will not be the best. It shows that you have not put thought into it. Do you know? And one of the things about GPTs that people don't understand is, you know that GPTs use tokens. Um, you have to use that idea of tokenization to actually improve how you deal with GPTs. Every token is a block, is work that is done. It is what allows that GPT to do its work. So research on tokenizations and tokens as it relates to GPTs. Now, every conversation you are having with GPT is a token. Okay? Every result you are having is a token. Sometimes when you're on a basic GPT and they tell you, oh, you have exhausted your something something for the day, it means you are out of the token for that day. There are some people that pay for premium GPT. They have access to more tokens. What that means is that those who have access to more tokens will get better results, will be able to do things a lot more than those that are just using the basic things. So, what does that mean? Whenever you're having a conversation with GPT, the more tokens you use, the more quality the result is. And so tokens means that the longer the conversation, the longer the brainstorming, the longer the ideation, the better it is. So when I want GPT to create something for me, I'll first ask questions, and it's a thinking process. You have to learn critical thinking. It's a thinking process. You don't ask GPT for the final answer. The best way to use GPT is to allow GPT to think with you. What that means is you bring your ideas, you bring your thoughts, you bring it into GPT. Allow GPT to look for data that either confirms or denies your thoughts. And then you ask GPT to give you options that you can choose from. Now, what that option does for you is that it does not allow the GPT to give you just one response in such a way that whatever it gives to you is what you are going to take. Based off of that option, you will now take it and think through it and see which of these options sound well, which of this one is more efficient, which of this one communicates better. So, for example, if you actually try this thing, so I have like the four different kinds of GPTs. There is the Gemini, which is from Google. There's the Claude. There is Grok. There is ChatGPT. Which other one do I use again? Perplexity. I think that's what it's called. So even if you write the same prompt on all of these GPTs, the way they will respond to you will be different. Now, if you write the same thing all through, now find out the way they think. Find out the one that has a higher quality of tokenized thoughts. Okay, because there are some GPTs that are more effective. So a lot of people use ChatGPT, but there are some things that I want to find out. I'll use Claude. There are some things I want to find out. I'll use Grok, which is the one for Elon Musk, the Twitter one. So you can't just be ignorant in this age of intelligence. A lot of people are going to be bamboozled. A lot of people will lose a lot of money because you cannot tell the difference between reality and what is fake. That's why when AI creates videos for people, some people, it has gotten to the point that you cannot even tell what is a real video and what is an AI generated video. That's because of the age that we find ourselves. So, one of the things you also have to understand is that the future would be AI. It means those who learn how to communicate. Let me break it down for you so that you understand. In the computer age, the people who knew how to speak to a computer in what is called a machine language, they became the engineers. So the engineers who understand coding, machine language, Fortran, C Sharp, C plus, Java, all those things are machine language. And so when they want to create a website, when they want to do things, they would use that coding to create those things. Now the coding with GPT now is called prompt engineering. That means how do you have a conversation with GPT in such a way that you are able to get the best results? Now, let me give you an idea. And this is something you can take home to test how well or how effective you are able to communicate with AI. Because a lot of people who would get the best communicators of this age will be those who can speak the language of intelligence and communicate the language of intelligence to the people. So what that means is that if you have a picture, if you ask AI to generate a random picture, maybe a picture of a house, this, and it creates that picture for you. One of the things you should do is you don't just tell AI. create an image of a house and all of that. That's not how. You tell AI or GPT, I'm trying to create an image of a building. The building is in the 1950s. It has a this, it has this, it has a this. What are some of your ideas on how this building will look like? When you do that, AI will give you, or GPT will give you different variations. And so you will now improve the tokens by saying, oh, okay, I don't want this. Oh, I want this, but can you tweak this a little bit so that it looks like what I have? The key is whenever many people are having conversations with AI, they become the servants. However, those who will rule the day are those who will have conversation with AI as masters. A servant is what is this? AI gives you. You don't critique, you don't check, you just receive it and then you put it out. But a master will tell you, this is what I want. I have the idea of what I want. Let's think through this together. And when the AI actually has a real thought or shows me something I probably am not aware because I'm not omniscient, I can, oh, this is a very good idea. Try this, work with this, and all of that. And one of the final things I wanted to also show in one of the brilliance that I've seen on how to have conversations with AI. If you've watched, I think it's Avengers. Is it the Age of Ultron now? Or whenever Tony Stark, that's the Iron Man, was having a conversation with his AI, you would see that it's a partnership conversation. Oh, justice fits it back into it and gets new things. Oh, the AI needs to think about something, okay, put it in, and then it works. Now, the final thing you also need to understand is that no matter what industry you find yourself, find a way to collaborate with artificial intelligence. For example, one of the things I saw on Twitter the other day was someone mentioned that he found out a problem in churches that whenever pastors are quoting scriptures, the technical guys might take time to display it on the screen. So he is developing an AI that the moment the pastor says the scripture, the AI goes into the Bible, finds the scripture, and posts it all within 2 milliseconds. So you can see the beauty of there is hardly a human being that will be able to do that effectively in 2 milliseconds. And so every church will probably embrace that. But what it means is that the technical unit that used to have like 6 people now will probably now have just two. Organizations that do that as a business, maybe the event space, that would employ 8 people to do it. Now it can just be 2 people. Now the 2 people will not be there because they spent the most years in that industry. They'll be there because they understand how to control and master artificial intelligence to get the work done. Okay, so when it comes to doing business in the age of AI, the goal is learn how to spot problems, learn how to think differently, okay, and learn how to communicate. So some of the areas that you would need to explore to be a lot better in this is design thinking. Learn design thinking. Design thinking is the concept of how products are being created. You need that. Critical thinking is still a skill that is very useful. You actually need to learn psychology. And the psychological part is how to reverse engineer things. Okay, so a lot of time people move from there is a problem and then we are trying to critique the problem until we find a solution. Now you must reverse engineer it with a mindset of innovation. The other thing is change management. Change management is a skill that will take you to leadership positions or management positions within an organization. Because every organization is going to experience change. Before, the change used to be digital optimization, and there are a lot of organizations that are not even there yet. However, now we are moving into AI optimizations. Now, one of the things you also need to understand it is not every company that needs AI at this time. You also have to go through your system to find out the level you are at, but you cannot take it away. that any organization that is now currently using AI or assimilating into AI will be able to do a lot better, break into the market faster, understand the market better than those that are still trying to crack their minds and crack their brain to do things. So, what does the future hold? The future holds a lot of promise. Why? The beginning is understanding that we're in the age of intelligence and how to use that to create solutions. However, it also means that we will start being faced with certain kinds of problems that we don't have a framework to understand or to solve. Now, it will now be bent on the people who have learned how to solve problems. They are the ones who will become the winners. So think about it. Before Uber came out, the system was if you want to move from A to B, you have to look for a driver. You have to know a driver. And then the driver has to agree with your terms. The driver needs to have fuel in his car. The driver needs to be going to where you are going. Now, someone thought about all of those problems. How can we fuse it into one system that becomes quick, effective, and highly responsive? He created an Uber app, meaning that you don't need to go to look for the driver. The driver doesn't need to go to look for you. All of you will meet yourself on the app. The system that the driver is looking for is embedded in the app. The system that the person is looking for is embedded in the app. What is the driver looking for? He's looking for passengers. He's looking for money. The passenger is looking for a driver. He's looking for convenience. He's looking for privacy. They combine those things together to form an app. And one of the biggest things on that app is trust. Now, that is how someone sat down to think about how to solve a problem. The issue is that if that problem is given to you to solve today, would you have come up with that solution? That tells you that you have a lot of gaps, knowledge gaps, skill gap, competency gap, thinking gaps that you don't even know that is one of the reasons why AI will continue to surpass people every day, every time. Until we change the way we see things, improve the way we think. Okay, and one of the ways to do that is to reduce how you use GPT and improve how you think with GPT. I'm not saying stop using GPT. GPT is now a part of our life. There's almost nothing we can do about it. But don't use GPT. Think with GPT. Understand how it thinks. Let it give you ideas. Then you choose, critique, edit, revise until you find what you want. That is actually how to do it. And it's a skill to master. Not everyone has it. And the earlier you actually start doing that, the better for you. Because you then place yourself as the very few people who are already thinking of the future and who will have what it takes to leverage or to solve problems in and who will have what it takes to leverage or to solve problems in the world when it comes. So one of the things I've mentioned, start building a portfolio, put yourself online, brandish yourself as such a person that organizations will see and come to you. That's how to flip it. If you are still thinking the only way you can do it is to write CVs, write cover letter, and queue and pray for people for a company to invite you for interviews, that is so 1900s, 1990s, year 2000. That's what they used to do. In this age, if you keep doing that, you will stay there for a long period of time. And also, the reason why you actually need to do this is because right now, not everybody's job is guaranteed. And so you cannot just pray that, oh, nothing will happen to my job. No, you need options. That's one of the things I mentioned earlier. Optionality. If something happens and this company goes down, or they have a system that can do better than me, what are my options? Who will take me? Will I be a liability to the organization? Is the only thing I'm taking salary from the organization, or there is value that I'm adding? And the only way to add value is to solve problems. When you learn to solve people's problems, you will become valuable. But here is the thing. Now that we're in the age of intelligence, you must know how to show yourself as a problem solver. There are many people who are smart and intelligent and know how to do a lot of things, but nobody knows. Let me tell you something. As long as nobody knows how competent you are, nobody practically knows you exist. That means that a lot of opportunities that are yours, that you qualify for, will never come to you because nobody knows. So, relationship building must be intentional. It's not about just um, putting yourself online and doing the work. No, you must be strategic. What do you want? Do you want publicity or you want access? I would advise you go for access because access will help you to create opportunities that people do not even know exist. And how can you leverage on AI to do that? That's what you need to begin to think. Look at your work processes, the things you do on a daily basis. Can AI do it? A lot of people that are in consulting, HR, AI is doing a lot of things. AI is writing applications to people. AI is screening through resumes. AI is checking cover letter. AI is conducting interviews. So humans are no longer needed. That's what would get a lot of people fired. But the people who understand how to be relevant in that process of AI to still show some of the lapses in the system and why you need them. And the reason why you need them is actually to improve the efficiency of this AI, to show the number of questions in the system, and how to make a data rich organization. This is one of the things that will help you. So, if you are a human resource person, your next professional experience should be becoming an AI human resource person. If you are a salesperson, your next experience should be a sales HR person, a sales AI person. If you're a consultant, AI consultant, learn. This is the A. It's not um the goal is not to be crazy about AI. The goal is to understand how to solve problems. But AI will help you to solve problems better. But you need to actually know the problems you want to solve. I need to know what you want the solution to look like. That is when AI will actually be very useful for you. Okay, so there's a lot I can say, but for the want of time, I would not want to bombard us with too many things. But one of the things I'll tell you is if whatever you're doing is only based on content creation, is only based on tasks, so doing things, so you have to do this, and that's what you do every day. It does not involve creating new things or solving problems. Your job is at risk, and you need to begin to think about how to improve the perception of your value so that even if your organization takes you out, you're still able to find your footing. You're still able to continue to solve problems that people will be willing to pay for. All right. All right. So that is pretty much what I would want to share with us today. For everyone who registered, I would be sending a mail to them that contains a summary of what session has been for. This session is not supposed to be the answers to everything you're thinking about, but it's supposed to nudge you in the right direction and put a little fire under your seat so that you're not comfortable with it. Because everybody that has a space now, that space can be taken. Every time new innovations come, industries are wiped out. And I don't want a situation where you have children to feed, you have a family to keep, and then just because you don't know how to position yourself well, you lose out. All right. So I'm also available. If there are any questions you might have or clarifications you might need, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'll do more than if if I'm able to just respond and help you, give you a sense of clarity. In this age, you can also position yourself as the first point of call. A lot of people that will be losing their jobs will come to. These are opportunities, and you need to position yourself well. All right. So I'm going to be ending this session here. I do hope that this has been something valuable for you. But more than that, I don't just want you to see this as something to listen to. It's something to go back to your drawing board, the drawing board of your life, of your career, and your profession, and see what you can do to improve how things go. All right. God bless, and I hope that we'll see some other time. It's been great having session with you all, but now is the time to go to work and reevaluate yourself and improve, add more options to your life, so that no matter what happens, you still have something to stand on. We'll see you some other time. God bless.